أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم رجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي هلت بفنائك. عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعل الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين، بالخصوص سيدي مولاي بالفضل عباس ابن أمير المؤمنين وأختك زينب أم كلثوم وبنتك رقية. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Today's majlis on the day of Ashura will only be Masaib, and the reason for this is that Ashura is the saddest day of the year. Everything we do today should be with us remembering that today is Ashura. And what are the rules for Ashura? We should try our best not to laugh, not to smile or be happy. Yeah, we should try our best to be sad today. And one way for us to understand why we should feel like this today is the day that Imam Hussein alayhi salam and all the shaheed that we've been talking about, Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam, Hazrat Ali Akbar, Hazrat Ali Asghar, Maula Abbas, Hazrat Qasim, Hazrat Ona Muhammad, Hazrat Habib ibn Mudahir, Hazrat Hur, Hazrat Muslim Naqil's other children. All of these shuhada of Karbala were shaheed. He was shaheed in Kufa on another day. But everyone who was killed in Karbala in Imam Hussein's side was killed today on the day of Ashura. And imagine Yazid's army. And I want you, in order to help you remember to be sad today, I want you to imagine, what if it was your father for Ashura? Imagine if it was your father who was being killed by Shimmer today.
Imagine if you
How
were
would
that girl.
you feel?
Imagine if you were that person.
Yeah, and that person today is Bibi Sakina salamullah alayha. Her father today has been killed by Shimmer of Imam Hussein.
How did you kill him?
We're going to talk about that in a minute. We're going to go into Masaib. But I want everyone to know that in Masaib time, on the day of Ashura, we have to listen. We have to remember that the most important thing is for Imam Hussein, and being sad for Imam Hussein today.
So you should try to make a Mimi, can I say something?
Yes, yeah. Let Abbas
know. If you can't cry, just cry. But if you cannot cry, make a sound of crying. But if you can't cry, then or make the sound of crying, then make a sad face.
Exactly, that's what the hadith says.
Or just cover your mouth to not show anybody. At least just do it.
Yeah, something to show the Ahlul Bayt that on your saddest day, we are sad with you. Because we love you.
And imagine Bibi Sakina is sitting right next to you. And even Bibi Fatima, Bibi Layla. All the Ahlul Bayt, even Muslim Akil. And all the Ahlul Bayt and the moms, they might be sitting next to you. They promised if you're in the middle of Imam Hussein's thing, they will promise they will come next to you. In the middle of Imam Hussein's majlis.
Now, today's Masaib, we're about to start. I'm not going to talk about everyone's Masaib, but I'm going to mention some of the Masaibs we haven't yet covered because of the gap in the majlises that has come, and I'm sorry for that. I want to talk very, very quickly about some of the Masaib we've missed. So, Maula Abbas alayhi salam. So, on the day of Ashura, all of the companions of our Imam Hussein alayhi salam have gone to the battlefield to protect Imam Hussein, and they've all been killed in the most painful ways. And Imam Hussein alayhi salam has gone to pick up,
got struck by the sword.
Yeah. Everyone, and Imam Hussein alayhi salam has gone to pick up every single body.
Except the Imam,
you know, when we...
He's on the moon.
Yeah, Maula Ali wasn't there. When we hear about the day of Ashura, we think to ourselves, there were so many, you know, in our family, if one person dies, how sad are we? How difficult is the funeral?
If someone was happy, we would want them to be sad with us.
When we have, let me speak now, yeah, both of you. Now, when we have one person die from our family, we find it so difficult, we find it so painful. We find it so sad
and so hard to be happy.
In the day of Ashura, 72 people are being killed by Yazid's army. And what happened when the children are crying al-atash, which means thirst, oh the thirst, the children are crying because they're thirsty, because Yazid's army, because they run out of their voice because they're so thirsty. Imam Hussein alayhi salam's camp was stopped from having water because Yazid's army stopped their water, and the children are crying. At this point, everyone has gone to fight. Who's left? Maula Abbas alayhi salam is left. Baby Ali Asghar is left in the tent. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, Imam Zain al-Abidin, who's too unwell to get up from his bed. The children are crying and crying. Sakina cannot see the children thirsty. She says, I know, I have an idea. I will go and ask my uncle Abbas, my Chacha Abbas, my Ammu Abbas to go and get us some water. He is so brave, he is so strong. I know he will be able to get water. Bibi Sakina asks Maula Abbas. Maula Abbas goes to Imam Hussein and says, oh my Maula, Bibi Sakina has asked me to get some water. I can hear the children are thirsty again and again. Please let me go and get some water for them. Imam Hussein says, Abbas, I do not give you permission to fight. If you are going to get water, I want you to leave your weapons here and take the alam with you in one hand and the mashk, which was the bag, the water bag, the container for the water, in your other hand. Maula Abbas alayhi salam looks at Bibi Sakina and says, Bibi Sakina, I promise to bring you and the children water. I will go now. Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam rides towards the river Furat. He has the alam in one hand. He has the mashk in the other hand. He is on his horse. He gets to the river Furat. Yazid's army sees Hazrat Abbas and they know how much of a warrior he is, so they are all scared of him and they move to the side. Maula Abbas easily gets to the river. He fills up the mashk. He takes the water in his hands to show Yazid's army, if we wanted to, this river is in our control. This river serves us, but that is not our mission here. He fills the water bag only for the children. As he turns around, he is holding the mashk in one hand again, but this time the mashk has water in it. He's holding the alam in the other hand, and he starts to begin to ride towards the tents. Umar ibn Sa'ad La'natullahi alayhi calls out from Yazid's army, someone stop Abbas. If water gets to the tent of Hussein, we will never be able to kill him. What happens? One la'in, one very bad man comes from behind Maula Abbas. See how cowardly they were? See how scared they were of Maula Abbas? They come from behind Maula Abbas, and one of them cuts off his left arm. Maula Abbas alayhi salam, he holds the alam in one hand, he holds the mushk in his mouth, and he carries on riding. Maula Abbas didn't stop because it was hurting him. He didn't stop because he was bleeding. He only had one wish, and that was to give Sakina and the children water. Then as he rides on, someone cuts his other arm. At this point the alam begins to shake and it begins to fall. Maula Abbas holds on to the mushk in his teeth so that at least the water doesn't fall, and he carries on riding. But then 2 arrows come, and these arrows are very painful. What they did, one arrow Hurmala put into the eye of Imam. One arrow into the eye of Maula Abbas. There's blood everywhere. He can't see anything. The other arrow into the mushk in the water bag that he was carrying. At that point, all the water leaked out of the bag. Maula Abbas doesn't have any arms left. He doesn't have any other mushk to get water again. At that point, he knows that he won't be able to give water to the children. So he turns his horse around and he says, I will not go back to the tent when I can't fulfill my promise and I can't give them water. He turns around. He says, I will not go back now. At that point, Maula Abbas begins to fall from the horse. How do we stay steady on the horse? We hold on with our hands. How do we fall? When we fall, we try and protect ourselves with our hands. Our hands go first on the ground, so our face doesn't hit the ground first. But hi, Maula Abbas, how does he fall onto the ground? And he has no arms, he has no hands, and he has an arrow in his eye. Imagine an arrow in your eye and you're falling and you have no arms or hands to protect yourself. How painful is the fall. At that point he says his last farewell to Imam Hussein. He says, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. Imam Hussein had been watching with Bibi Sakina and Bibi Zainab from the tents to see how far has Abbas gone and how did they know where he was when they used to look at his alam. At that point, when Maula Abbas falls from the horse, Bibi Sakina cries out and she says, oh my auntie Zainab, I see the alam fall on the floor. Has something happened to my uncle Abbas? Bibi Zainab says to Imam Hussein, what is happening to Abbas? But Imam Hussein is holding his back. He looks at Zainab and says, my brother is being killed. I feel as if my back is being broken. Imam Hussein runs towards the river of Furat to find his brother. What does he see? Maula Abbas is on the floor. He is bleeding. He has no arms. He is bleeding from the eye. He can't see anything. Imam Hussein takes Hazrat Abbas's head and puts it in his lap. Maula Abbas takes his head off his lap and puts it on the floor. He says, oh my Imam, when I die, my head may be in your lap, but when you die, there will be no one to hold your head. Oh my Imam, I have one wish from you. Please don't take my body back to the tent. I am ashamed. From Sakina, I didn't bring her water. Imam says, Abbas, and so the Abbas says, one last wish, my Imam, please clean the blood from my eyes so I can see your face before I die. die. Imam Hussein says, oh my brother Abbas, I have one wish from you. Your whole life you have never called me brother, even though I am your older brother. You have always called me Imam or Maula. Please, for once before you die, I want to hear you call me brother. Maula Abbas says, Ya Akhi, Ya Akhi, and he passes away. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. After that day, Bibi Sakina never asked for water again.